Unfortunately, the D-backs not in the postseason as it gets underway, but we are thankful to their general manager, Mike Hazen, for joining us right now on the Arizona Sports Line. Mike, I know not the day you wanted to be talking to us about this, but where are your thoughts initially after what happened over the weekend and yesterday?
Yeah, pretty disappointed, honestly. This week, my personal opinion, given the team that we had, we should be playing in the playoffs right now. We're not. So it's hard to kind of work through that right now. We're trying to assess. Well, we haven't really even started to assess kind of really what happened. We know some of the big things that happened. It's hard because we felt like we had it in our control. It wasn't even something where, yesterday we didn't have control, but we sort of set up yesterday with the way we kind of went down the last few weeks and some of those games. So it's those are the things that we're kind of still thinking about and working through, and it's unfortunate because it overshadowed some good things that happened on the individual and team level. But it's hard to, if you're asking me what our job is to get into the playoffs, and we didn't do that.
Yeah, you know what, Mike, I know this sucks buttermilk for you and everybody else who is a Diamondback fan right now. But having said that, I have to ask you personally, how much time do you allow to step away from a season, especially one like this, as disappointing as it is? How much time do you step away, you and your staff, before you start making decisions?
Well, the honest answer is zero. It's not. There's no code reds that we have to deal with. I think the only from your question alone standpoint is nothing can really happen in the game for the next 30 days.
Okay.
We played the whole way through, so we weren't really dealing with these questions. There's really nothing happening. I mean, nobody's making trades. Nobody's a free agent. All of our players don't become free agents until the World Series is over. So there's nothing really to do other than plan. So there's less time urgency on those things. And so there is some time to step back, even if you don't want to, and move into what 2025 planning is going to look like. So that's the real answer to it. It's I would like to start today, because it takes my mind off of what yesterday and the day before was, more than anything else. And it's hard to swallow right now, honestly. So getting started on next year is actually the thing that you start to become more hopeful for, even though this just finished.
But, Mike, once again, it's so emotional, right? I mean, you're emotionally charged in this right now. Is it wise to step away and give yourself a little time to absorb before you actually make those decisions?
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm alluding to, too, and you're absolutely right. And the answer is absolutely not. We should not be making emotional decisions. The good thing is I can't. Right. So even if I make a theoretical decision in my mind today, there's nothing I can do about it for the next 30 days. And time ends up softening your emotional edges a little bit, and you start to see it much more objectively. So you shouldn't have any fear that the emotion overrides the judgment, just because, you got to kind of step away from the dinner table for a little bit. And even though you don't want to. So you just start asking questions and diving into certain things, and we'll circle back to them over the next 30 days, probably 50 times.
Yeah.
And that's really how the process goes. It's not something that we're going to make a decision on today, and then 30 days from now, I'm going to feel the exact same way about it. That never happens. With time ends up figuring, it's like, okay, step away. The season's now long over 30 days from now. And what you're feeling today, you don't feel as strongly at that point in time.
Talking to Mike Hazen. Mike, you guys were more aggressive, I would say, this past offseason in free agency, and you did win 5 more games, but you're not where you want to be right now. I want to play this cut for you of Ken Kendrick on with Burns and Gambo yesterday real quick.
Let me say it the best way I can say it. If anyone wants to blame anyone for Jordan Montgomery being a Diamondback, you're talking to the guy that should be blamed, because I brought it to their attention. I pushed for it. They agreed to it. It wasn't in our game plan. When he was signed right at the end of spring training. And looking back, in hindsight, a horrible decision, to have invested that money in a guy that performed as poorly as he did. It's our biggest mistake this season from a talent standpoint, and I'm the perpetrator of that.
Just wanted to get your reaction to that and what it kind of means going forward.
Yeah, I don't, I answer this question sort of every year. I've had situations where I've made decisions, and listen, Ken preaches accountability to me, and I appreciate what, his words. I do appreciate them. I will say that, he gives me very fair amount of latitude to disagree or to kick back on ideas. We throw around ideas at each other all the time. He kicks back on mine as well. We made this together. We would have had full authority in my mind, maybe not, but full authority to be able to say, hey, but we wanted to do it. I'll be honest with you. And because we wanted to keep adding starting pitching, and I wanted to keep adding to the team. And we're very fortunate that Ken wants to keep adding to the team and push in to take this team that is a very good base, talented team and push it even further. And we're very appreciative of that. We're grateful for that we have that opportunity. And yeah, this has happened to me in the past. I'm well aware of that, know what the track record is in some cases. And I don't think we can just shy away from that area of the talent pool. And it's what the good teams do. And they, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does. But you have to keep going back at it. I am fairly confident that Jordan Montgomery is going to have a better season next year.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I love to see the accountability. I really do. It reminds me of being back in the locker room. I love to see that. Speaking of accountability right now, what kind of job did Torey Lovullo do as you see it, Mike?
I thought he did a fantastic job. And I try to remain as objective as possible as I can. Are there decisions that a manager makes over the course of the season that everyone disagrees with, some people disagree with, that I might disagree with sometimes? Yeah, that he makes 100 decisions every day, and they're very difficult decisions, and it's a really hard job. What do I think he does the best at? I think what he does is we go through these seasons. We go through a season where in April and May he lost half of his baseball team, and he kept the baseball team afloat. Literally would come into his office and beg him, keep these guys at 500. Just let's get to 500, stay there until Perdomo comes back, till Alec comes back, till the pitching comes back, and we can do some stuff at the deadline and see what happens in the second half. And they did that. And we were throwing all sorts of combinations at him from a personnel standpoint, and he made it work. And he makes the inner workings of the group work from the players and the environment, and they play hard. And, I mean, you look where Gino was in the middle of June, what Torey and Gino worked towards that I was privy to in a lot of tough conversations at the time about, like, how we could get him going in another direction. And the guy went for 30 and 100. I know Torey didn't go hit the ball for him. I know he wasn't his hitting coach, all those things. But I do know that Torey remained very invested in him, even when he had a 580 OPS as a corner position player. And you look what that brought us as a team. Those are the things he does so well. Those are the things that, and it's hard to quantify it. I don't know how to quantify it. I just know when I step back from it, this team plays hard every night. We're down 5 runs in the 9th inning of the Nationals, and we walked them off. Like, things like that happened. Yes, we had some games on the other side, but I think in the long run in baseball, when you play 162 games, the ability to have somebody that keeps a group pushing and pulling on the same end of the rope is a major difference maker in our sport, maybe unlike some others. But I'm sure it's all relatively the same. Having those guys be able to play together and fight for each other is a reflection, in my opinion, on the manager.
Talking to Mike Hazen. Mike, you mentioned the Gino Suarez move. That was a move that worked. There were a lot of moves that worked this season. A lot of young players got better, like Jake McCarthy. Do you still feel good about the overall trajectory, big picture?
I do. I think we have some really good players in the minor leagues sitting in AAA right now that are going to be that next group of guys that's going to come up from underneath and fit in places on the roster. I still think we have 5 to 6 young, really good, hardworking, dedicated position players that are the younger kids. I think we're going to be able to surround them with some of our veteran guys. I think the pitching staff we have starting pitching coming back. We have bullpen guys coming back. We saw Justin Martinez take some steps forward to pitch in the back end of the bullpen. He's, as young as he gets on the team. And we all know the kind of arm that he has. I do. I think the base of this team is a very good baseball team. I think the team that's walking out of here is a very good baseball team. Unfortunately, without the ability to say that they were a playoff team, and that hurts. But I do think from a talent perspective, this was a good baseball team, and it will be moving forward.
Mike, we appreciate
thank you
the
so
honesty
much,
always,
buddy.
man. Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
You
Okay,
too.
man.
That's it's Mike Hazen joining us right there on the Arizona Sports Line.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.